Hey everybody, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell, and welcome to the latest episode of Monday Musings, which go live at 7 a.m. Central Time on my YouTube channel. And this is my personal vlog space where I talk about me and things that are going on in my life. We talk about books, we talk about shows, talk about food, restaurants, things Chris and I are doing, things that are going on in the world around us, things we're doing here on YouTube, as well as things we're doing for the Weave and the Void, which is the map behind me. We're going to talk about all that stuff. If this is your first time tuning into one of these, I think this is episode like 55 or something. I've been doing these since the beginning of 2021. I think I missed a couple of weeks. I missed about 3 weeks, I think, in January because I had COVID. But since then, we've been doing these without stop. So every week I do one of these. So if this is your first time here, buckle up. We're about to dive into some fun stuff. This is different than everything else I do here on YouTube because it's not gaming related, it's not related to shows, it's just life. So first of all, let's address the big news, which is we got a whole slew of new followers. Traffic has definitely gone back to normal ranges in the last few days, which is cool. But also, we got a lot of new people, like almost, I think we're closing in on like 2,000 new followers in like 2 weeks, all because of some of the Rings of Power videos I did, which is great. That's awesome. I'm so glad people are here. Hopefully, you'll stick around for this and all of the other things that I do here on the channel, because it's not only going to be lots of Rings of Power stuff, although it will be more and more as we come up on the show, because I'm definitely going to want to review the episodes, and I'm going to continue to nitpick throughout the year, but it's not the only thing I do here. We got lots of other stuff planned. One of the things I'm planning on doing is sort of sitting down and talking to my brother, and then I was joking around with Nathan and Simmerg, and I think I'm gonna end up doing a angry bearded white dude series, like angry bearded white dude rants, and I'm just gonna pick random topics that I rant about for the week, but they're gonna be done in a very tongue-in-cheek way. If you've watched any of my other videos, really, I only rant for the first 90 seconds to 2 minutes of the video, which gets people in and gets them, oh, what's this guy, what's he going on about? And then after the intro, we calm down and we have a rational discussion about things, which I prefer to do. I don't, I don't ever have a desire to be a ranty type of dude on the internet. I've never done that with my channel. This channel's been going on since 2017. I've never cared about how fast it grows or being popular. I just do the things that I want to do. But seeing the reaction to people who have really enjoyed the discussions that are posed as rants, and then people come in and they say, "What? That was a very calm rant. That was a very different type of rant. Very calm and collected." Well, that's the thing, It's a rant, but it's a calm, cool, and collected rant as opposed to a type of internet fever thing. So if you like that kind of stuff, stick around because I will be doing some of that after the move, which we need to talk about to remind people. I'm going to be reminding people every week as we get closer to the move. I'm recording this. This is coming out on February 28th, the last day of February. I'll be doing one more of these for the 7th, and then I may pre-record one for the 14th. But I anticipate 14th is the day we have to be out of this apartment. We have to be out of this place. We've been here 4 years, and Chris and I are moving. We bought a place out in the countryside, out in a small little town out by where Chris's family lives. Won't say where, but it's out in that direction. But we have to be out here on the 14th. So I don't know if we're getting the internet here shut off on the 12th or the 14th. If it gets shut off on the 12th, I won't have an episode out on the 14th. But if we don't get it shut off till the morning of the 14th, then I still might do one of these episodes. We'll see. In any case, on the day of the 14th, we got to be out of here, and then we're literally on an overnight bus out to the new place. So we'll be there on the 15th. We anticipate the internet getting installed sometime the week of the 15th. If not, it'll be the week of the 21st, this week of the following. So Chris is going to be traveling from the 7th to the 11th, basically. She's got to go out there ahead of the movers and get everything set up with the movers while I stay here and work on deep cleaning the apartment and also prepping a whole bunch of other stuff for the internet being down. So I'm going to be prepping from the 7th to 11th. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of video content that I'm going to pre-record so that it's coming out the week of the 14th, the week of the 21st, And probably I'm going to try to do 3 weeks worth of content. I'm going to try to do everything for the 14th, 21st, and the week of the 28th. So I'm trying to do 3 weeks worth of content while she's gone. Those will not be hot topics. And this is where we see how many of you who are new stick around for all the other things that I do here on the channel, because I won't be able to do hot topic content for 3 weeks because I'm not going to be here to stay on top of trailers and new shows and all the other things that are coming out. So it's just going to be the type of stuff that I usually do in between those, which is game reviews, Tim's tabletop tips. I might decide to start to do that angry white bearded dude rants series. We'll see how that all goes. So, and we'll do a couple book reviews. So stick around for all that stuff because that's what it's going to be coming throughout the month of March. There will be no streams from probably, again, depending on if we get the internet turned off like the 12th or the 14th, but there will be no streams at all for the week of the 14th and the week of the 21st until we get the internet set up. Once the internet gets installed at the new place, we will then see about getting streaming back up and going. But we also have to get, so we bought essentially a unfurnished place. So we have to furnish it. We have to get air conditioners installed. We have to get a new electric work done. The house was built, I think, like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And I haven't been out there yet to look at what the electrical work looks like. So I don't even know if it can, like, I don't know. I got to go see. I don't know what the electric looks like yet. So I got to actually go, be there on site, look at what the breaker box looks like and see how much juice we've got coming in, and do I need to, what do I need to do to get all my internet, not my internet, get all my air conditioners installed and everything else because it's hot out there. And so that's just stuff I have to do. So that takes precedence. So there's going to be a little bit of downtime during the month of March where I won't be streaming and I won't be focused on YouTube. I'll just be focused on the move and getting all that done. We do anticipate continuing to do YouTube shorts, and also probably some TikToks covering the move and just sort of the day-to-day stuff. So in between all the pre-programmed stuff, if you want to stay up to date with what we're working on, what we're doing, I will of course be in Discord. Links are down below, and I'll be putting out YouTube shorts and TikTok. The TikTok stuff is more Spanish than English, so if you speak Spanish and you want that stuff, you can check out my TikTok as well. Links down there. So that's the quick version, just to remind everybody that, hey, that's happening mid-March. So if I suddenly drop off the face of the world and I'm not streaming for 2 or 3 weeks, you'll know why, even though there are videos coming out. Now, there's not going to be videos coming out every day. I'm looking at pre-programming Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So 3 times a week we'll have videos coming out, from the 14th until whenever. So we'll see. Anyway. I haven't done any reading this week. Last week, the past week, I did 2 Chronicles of Amber novels, but this past week was Chris and I finally getting everything finalized. We finally got a mover, got the deposit paid. Hopefully they don't screw us on scheduling and stuff. Um, just starting to prep all that stuff, and we've started to put things in boxes, um, and just preparing everything for that. So no reading last week. Last week was just the normal stuff I've been doing, some more videos. And just kind of wrapping my head around the fact that we now have, like, I don't even know. If I can look at it right now, it's like 2,300 followers or something on YouTube. Almost 2,300. So yeah, it's been a crazy burst since I put that I put the first video out. I think that first Rings of Power video was, I think, February 9th, February 10th, I think it was, and just had a 2 week run of just lots of people coming in. So cool, but that was a lot to wrap my head around, and I was spending like 6 hours a day answering comments for like 12, 13 days. Somewhere in the ballpark, I think, of 10,000 new comments. I haven't even touched more than probably a third of them. But I did literally answer thousands of comments over the course of like 12 days. It was 6 hours a day of just sitting here, just answering comments, which is great, but also tiring. As the channel continues to grow, that's not going to be feasible. I'll probably end up just dropping that down to 2 hours a day of comment answering and get to who I can. But it's been great. Overwhelming, but great. Now things are starting to even back out, and we're getting back into our normal sort of the normal traffic for YouTube. So we'll ride that for the rest of March. Once we get settled into the new house, we'll get back to some fun content. I know one of the things I'm planning on doing is I'm definitely going to be doing a reread of Lord of the Rings this after we get moved, as well as a reread of the Silmarillion. And in there, I'm also going to reread the Narnia books, and I'm going to be doing more discussions around those books, the world building of those books, the conversations that the Inklings had, and what went into the building of those worlds, the friendship between C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. I think those are all very relevant things. And I'm definitely going to be continuing to do lots of Lord of the Rings online content here because um, with the Amazon show coming out in September, even though it's not something that I'm looking forward to that much, it is driving a huge amount of interest in into all things Lord of the Rings. So it's a good time to be doing Tolkien-based content here on the channel. And even if it's not related to the books per se, we're having fun playing Lord of the Rings online. I know people eventually burn out every time after about 3 or 4 months, but I'm really hoping that people want to stick with it. And even if they don't, I'm going to be continuing to produce content around Lord of the Rings throughout the rest of this year. I already have a big playlist from 2020 and 21 for Lord of the Rings Online. Took a bit of a break throughout the latter part of 2021, but now that I'm back to Lotro, I'm going to be pushing that all year because it's good traffic for YouTube, and I really think that, especially with the plans that EG7 has for Lord of the Rings Online, which I'll have a video about that out tomorrow. The investor report came out for EG7, which is the company that owns Daybreak Studios now. They bought them out a couple years ago. They've got big plans for Lord of the Rings Online, including a graphical update and some other stuff that I think are supposed to be happening this year. So with that game continuing to see all of the love that it's going to be receiving and all of the upcoming traffic that it's going to be getting throughout 2022, I want to stay on top of that. So you can expect to see lots more Lord of the Rings Online content from me here, streams and regular videos, as well as, like I said, I really want to dive into world building and what those guys did for world building. As a writer, I've always had a passion for world building, and Tolkien was definitely my earliest inspiration source, along with C.S. Lewis. Um, but I do want to talk more about that, and I'd like to see if maybe we can't have some conversations with some other writers. I know we've got like Erigmar on our channel, who's from Bulgaria. We've been having some really fun conversations in during the streams and in Discord. Might be nice to have sit down and have a talk with him about. I'm assuming it's a him. It might be her. I've never actually asked. You never know with folks on the internet these days. But talking with them, might be nice to talk to them. Talk to Liam from Liam's Lyceum. Might be nice to do some show stuff around writers and world builders. Um, And also, if anybody has suggestions on content that they would like to see me cover, please don't forget. You can always drop that down in the comments below, or you can also hit me up in Discord, send me a private message, drop it in the general channel, whatever you want to do, if you've got stuff that you think you might want to see me cover. Um, Otherwise, I'm just going to be plugging along like I normally do. I'm not on the Elden Ring bandwagon right now. The reason being, I didn't want to get sucked into a game like that and then have to move. So I did not purchase it yet. After we get moved, I'm going to be buying Elden Ring and also the Skywalker Saga Lego game. And those are the two games that I'm going to be playing a lot of in May, June. Well, after the move, just April, May, June into the summer months. Um, I've been really enjoying, and people seem to be reacting well, so I appreciate those of you who have been showing up for these. But the Games Has Coffee shows that I started doing about a week ago, we've been getting a good turnout for those every single morning. And right now, I've been playing through Jedi Fallen Order for the third time, but playing through that a couple hours each morning with people hanging out as I wake up and drink coffee in the mornings. That's been really fun. That's going to continue. When I wrap that game up, that's what I'm going to be switching. I think I can wrap that up before the move, and then when I come back from the move, I'll be streaming Elden Ring and the Skywalker Saga Jedi game or the Lego game in the mornings, and that's when you'll see me play those. Chris and I had a long talk today. We went to the park today. We were off on a walk and we were just talking about plans after we move. I'm not sure if I'm going to look for another part-time job or not. Don't know. For now, I'm going to be just focusing on continuing to build YouTube and, of course, everything we have going on with the Weave in the Void, which I'll talk about that at the end of this. But I'm thinking what it's going to look like is I'm probably going to continue to do those streams every morning on a daily basis because I get some of the U.S. early risers, but I also get a European crowd, which I appreciate. I like having an international audience. So it's nice to be able to do those morning streams, get the early risers in the US, and then I get the Europeans who are in the late afternoon, early evenings. And then going away from that and going to work on the Weave in the Void content as well as create YouTube videos. And then take my afternoon nap, come back from that, and then right now I'm only streaming Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays with the guild. Those are the nights that I stream with the community. So we stream Lord of the Rings Online Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. I, assuming that this all works out, I'm probably going to start to stream every single night as well as every single morning after the move. I haven't done it yet here for a variety of reasons. I may do that as an experiment for the last week and a half, 2 weeks that I'm here. The evening streams um, would probably take place from like 7 or 8 p.m. because that's when we usually start Lord of the Rings Online is 7 or 8 p.m. So I may start doing some streams at night too and just do like a 7 to 9, 7 to 10, somewhere in that bracket, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesday nights as well. Sunday nights I have D&D, so I can't do anything on Sunday nights. But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays, traditionally, Mondays and Tuesdays I don't do anything. Wednesdays we have our stand up on the Weave and Void channel, and then my brother and I usually go and play something after that. Usually Star Wars: The Old Republic, but now that we're playing Lord of the Rings Online, that's when we play. My brother and I play, and then usually a couple of his real life friends join us. But so I may start to stream every night of the week. Sunday being the exception because that's a D&D night, which technically I still stream on that night, but it's not on my personal YouTube channel. That's over on the Weave in the Void Twitch channel. So who knows? And also, I know you can't tell, I hide it well, but I have. So last year, leading up to August, Chris and I were training for a 5K and broke my nose in August. Some of you remember that. Broke my nose in August of last year and couldn't run for 2 months. So that was at the end of August. So September, October, couldn't run. November started to get back into it again. December, and then January got COVID, and I was out for a month. And I have since not, I've not even, and I've put on quite a bit of weight because I haven't given a crap. And I'm just like, I'm leaving the big city, so I'm gorging on Uber Eats and all the really good restaurants around here. Because once we get to the small town life, you don't have all those luxuries. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna worry about it later. So I'm putting on a little bit of a punch. I've already went up one belt notch. Um, so I'll have to start worrying about my health and eating wise again. But for now, I'm just eating and enjoying life. Um, so anyway, that's rough stuff there. Let's talk Weave and Void stuff for a little bit. So um, this past week, we got the first two pieces of art from Nathan Napalm. If you are in the patron section of Discord, you got a preview of both of those pieces. We've only shown the druid in public, the halfling druid that he did. But we've also got the human bard, and he's working on dwarven warrior right now. So currently he's working on the classes for our tabletop source book. So our source book is due out. I think it's going to be out in June. I said Q2 of 2022 so that it gave me a window of May or June, but I don't think it's going to be May. I think it's going to be June because I think May is going to be me doing all the polish and layout for the books, and then we'll push everything live by June sometime. So the source book and the first campaign module, which is the Escape from Parthana module, both of those are due out. I'm wrapping up literally today and tomorrow the draft 2.0 of the Escape from Parthana module, which means all the quests are done now. The only thing that's left is, and I got behind on this because of YouTube, but I've just got to do the encounters and link those to the map, and that's probably a week's worth of work to get all that done. Just sit down and do it every day for a few hours. Once that's done, it's just continuing to add to the source book. So adding more lore, adding some more classes, doing spell lists for the mages, doing spell lists for the Church of the Elder Ways. because we've got the Paladins, the Templars, and the Inquisitors. But remember, we're not using divine magic in our game. So since we're not using divine magic, even though it's a fifth edition, we're using fifth edition rules, it's a supplement. So we're not using any sort of divine spells. So there's not going to be lay on hands or any of these things that there may be lay on hands, but we have different ways of doing things. But what I'm getting at is there won't be any like um, turn undead, if that makes sense, or any holy this or holy that, because it's not divine magic, it's quantum magic. So since it's quantum energy, and it's not even magic per se, it's quantum science. Since it's quantum energy, we're not dealing with divine sources, so we actually have some unique spell lists or ability lists for our paladins, templars, and inquisitors, and I have to create all that stuff and make all those and do the stat blocks and everything else for those. So that's a chunk of work. But really, the most important thing is the lore. We've already got that down in place, and just adding more to that all throughout. Um, April will be the month of just fleshing out that source book as much as possible. And then once those are ready for sale, that's going to be when we kick off the Weave in the Void campaign with the current crew of people who have been playing D&D with us for the past few months, which is Simmered, Nathan Napalm, Sparrow, Bounty Code, my brother, my wife, and I. So there's 7 of us. We do have room for 1, possibly 2 more. Um, we'll see how that goes. We may be expanding. We may be looking to expand to some guest spots. Never know. If the story holds for it, we'll see how that pans out. But these are the folks we're rolling into that new campaign with. Um, so if you like what we've been doing on Sunday nights, you'll want to stick around because instead of doing an official D&D campaign, we're doing This World Behind Us and our official campaign, which is a lot different because it's not Forgotten Realms. So even though we are using 5th edition rules, it's our own world. And if you've paid attention to what we've been doing at the brainstorming sessions and all the storylines of the books and everything else over on Patreon, this is a lot different. We've got elemental magic, we've got quantum energy, we've got the turned, which are, you know, they're not zombies, but it's something similar, which adds this horror element to the storyline. So even though we do have your traditional high fantasy setting, it's also we've got tech involved, and we've got this literally a pandemic going on in this world, which is creating these. It's essentially it's creating a new race. It's creating a brand new race of creatures who are going to be evolving throughout the course of the campaign and going from these you know, unknown entities to being something that is a large enough threat that all sides have to learn how to deal with it and negotiate with it and come to grips with it. And that's part of the fun of this storyline is having that all come out. And then we've already talked about how as humans begin to evolve and start tapping into elemental magic, it's going to bring the ice elves out of their essentially their exile, and they're going to begin a campaign against the entire world behind me to eradicate what they see as the source of evil. So we got a lot of stuff planned. So hopefully you're all going to be sticking around for all that stuff too, because there's a lot that's going to be happening from the summer of this year onwards as we start live streaming the campaign for this and launch those books. Chapter 13 in the novel was published this past Thursday. So for those of you who have been staying up to date on the book chapters, that's coming out. That's something else I have to get prepped while I'm not here. So over the next week or two, I've got to try to get chapters 14, at least chapter 14 written for the month. I try to do 2 chapters a month. Month of March we'll see, but I'd like to get at least 2 chapters written. I could get chapter 14 written this week, have that published on the 10th, and then get chapter 15 written and set to publish on the 14th or the 24th or the 17th, whichever I choose to do it on. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And of course, the point and click game. If you were here and the Games Has Coffee streams in the morning, I streamed our point and click demo a few mornings ago and showed that off. You can download the free demo over at the Patreon page for the Weave in the Void. Links are all down there in the description text below. My brother is wrapping up. I think he said he's going to be done with Marin's Rest completely in terms of world building and everything else by the end of March. Um, Originally, March was supposed to be the month where I was writing descriptions for everything and all of the dialogue for the next sections of quests. But because I'm moving in the month of March, instead of doing that, he's going to switch over and he's just going to do all of the polish passes for the buildings and everything, and things like adding all the shingles to the roofs, and because it's a paint on thing, um, adding all the little polish passes like ivy leaves and flowers here and a little tree there and some bushes over there, and maybe spruce up the fence post over here, put some moss and some mushrooms at the base. Those are the little details that are just part of the set decoration, so to speak. So he's going to be working on that throughout the month of March. And I think we talked about the other day, and he said he plans on being able to have that completely wrapped up at the end of March. And then we're just rolling into then writing all of the dialogue and quest lines for Marin's Rest. That'll be part of my objective for April while I'm working on the tabletop book. And then he'll be implementing that. And then once that's implemented, that goes into the next round of testing with testers. So if you want to be a tester, you can pre-order the game over on the Patreon page, and that gets you into alpha and beta testing on an as-needed basis. It's not that often. It's once every few months is when we need people to come in and test stuff. Right now, our primary tester is my 6-year-old nephew. Um, he's been going through things and catches a lot of stuff, but it's always good to have other sets of eyes on things. And then once he's done with that, there's a handful of exterior sets that have to be built for the forest, and then we're going over to the island. And he has to build a few exterior sets for the island, and that's all the interior dwarven ruins, because if you have paid attention to some of the things I've talked about in lore in the past, this is the Dwarven Kingdom down here. Used to be all the way up in here, but when what happened 500 years ago happened, we had the rift opened here, the High Elves closed the rift, it exploded, caused the crater here, which broke apart the continents, allowed the water to come in, created the inner sea, and the ruins of Thexal is where we're going to be going in the point and click adventure game. That's where the old Dwarven Kingdom used to be, and all the mountains shifted, so all the Dwarven Kingdom shifted down here. And so we're going to be going back to the old Dwarven ruins in the point and click game. So we anticipate that's going to be about 3 months for Joey to build all that stuff. And then we have to fill that with quest lines. And that'll be the extent of the first point and click game, which we expect. Let's see, we got March, then April is that an implementation. April and May. June is the exteriors. With July, August, September, October. We're thinking November, December is when that game's going to be out for release. Could be October, but we just said Q4 of 2022, so anywhere October to December. But more than likely, it's going to be November, December. It would be really cool to have that out as a Christmas gift for everybody. So have it ready to go by December 1st and out the door and ready for everybody. So that'll be a lot of fun. So that's all in the works. Books, games, tabletop, all that good stuff. So yeah, trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover. I don't think there is, honestly. Um, March is going to be a chaotic month for us, but once it's all done, I will say it's going to be nice to be in a place that we own. I may have mentioned this during last week's episode, but I have rented fully furnished apartments now for 14 years. Yeah, 14 years I've been renting fully furnished apartments. So I haven't needed to worry about, my own place or anything like that. It's always just been rent a fully furnished apartment. I show up with a backpack, my camera bag, my laptop, I'm good to go. And then since Chris and I got married, we've accumulated stuff over the years. And this is the first time we've actually got a bunch of stuff. Like we're actually, we had to pay a mover. We don't have furniture, but we have enough boxes and a washing machine and monitors and all this other stuff that it was like we're gonna actually have to pay a mover this time around because we can't just do it in backpacks and suitcases. But it will be very nice to have my own place where I can actually build my own office because that's something I've not been able to do renting because you're always in whatever environment you have. So for example, here, that's a wall right there. Like I can touch it. It's right behind me. And this is just a corner of our living room. So if I turn the camera around, the sofa bed's right over there. And if you watch my earlier streams from like 2, 3 years ago, before we switched the desk around, I used to be facing that direction. So I had the desk against this wall over here, and you could see the sofa bed in my streams. And we had people who would come on my videos and my streams and be like, "Whose grandmother's house are you streaming from?" Because that's not my couch. That's the couch that came with the place, and it's got like a yellow floral leaf duvet set and everything, and it is what it is. So it will be nice to have our own place, be able to build out our own office. And I anticipate I got a lot of stuff up at my sister's place in Colorado, which I don't know if I'll get this year. Like I've got all my old second edition AD&D books there, all my original miniatures. I've got my Robert Jordan Wheel of Time first edition hardcover set, my entire Roger Zelazny set, my John Carter of Mars set with the Michael Whelan covers. That's all up there. My brother actually, my sister brought a box of stuff to my brother's house recently for Thanksgiving, and in it was like all my stuff from the first Star Wars celebration. So like my handmade lightsaber, all of my Terry Brooks first edition covers of the Phantom Menace, and then the signed copies that Terry Brooks did of the Darth Maul cover of the Phantom Menace novel. So just lots of collectibles over the years that I'd like to get down here and put into our new place. So that's going to be the project for the next, I don't know how long. It's our place, so it's like I've never owned a place before. I'm 42, and this will be the first house I've ever owned. Um, I can say, and I think I mentioned this on stream the other day, one of the things I'm doing this summer and into the fall will be building our own um, outdoor kitchen type area. I want to build a brick oven for pizzas and making our own breads and stuff because I love oven baked pizzas. So I'd love to do my own. I'm going to build my own, brick oven for bread and pizzas, and then I want to build an outdoor grill, or it's not really a grill. In Spanish, es una parrilla de afuera. Es para poner leña y cocinar ahí. Um, it's so that's gonna be a work in progress this summer too. Is building the outdoor kitchen, and then I don't know what else we're gonna do. I know the first object is to get the office set up, and then after that we're gonna start figuring out what we want to do. And right now it's just a one-story place, but we can add on upstairs if we want to, put a second floor on it. So we haven't decided what we're doing yet, and we can finally get pets. So that's going to be something we've already been talking about, getting a dog and a cat, but we want to make sure we get them at the same time so that they're used to each other because I don't want them to not be accustomed to each other. And I'm going to leash train this cat so that we can actually, because there's lots of places. I've talked about where I can't. I'm never going to say where it is we're moving because there are crazy people on the internet who will try to find you and stalk you and all this other shit. But we are moving to a place that's it's where they went. It's where they filmed, near where they filmed the Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's where they filmed um, the Yavin 4 scenes for Star Wars: A New Hope. It's in that region of the world, and there's lots of rivers and waterfalls and ruins and all sorts of fun stuff. So there's lots of outdoor activities to go do. And then there's San Cristobal de las Casas, which is not too far away up in the mountains. And so I'd like to be able to ensure that the cat, as well as the dog, can go along with us on outdoor adventures for hiking and stuff. So I've never leash trained a cat before, but I'm looking forward to actually having animals again and leash training a cat so that we can take both the dog and cat on adventures. I don't know. Lots of stuff coming in the pipeline, folks. I'm 35 minutes in, so I should probably wrap this up. So again, welcome to all the new people. If you stuck around through all 35 minutes of this, kudos to you. That means you are definitely here for the long haul, so I appreciate that. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you haven't already done so and you somehow stumbled upon this and made it to this far, which is cool. Check out all the other stuff that's happening here on the playlist, and hopefully you'll be entertained throughout the month of March, even if I'm not doing crazy Rings of Power rants, but all the other stuff that I normally do anyway, which is varied. No cooking videos this month though, because we're breaking down the kitchen and moving stuff. So Thanks, everybody. Stick around. Tomorrow I've got a video coming out on why Lord of the Rings Online is poised to be the biggest MMORPG of 2022, despite the fact that it's a 14, 15-year-old game. So hopefully you'll stick around for that tomorrow. See you in Discord, and hopefully, oh yeah, here's another thing. Don't forget, I have memberships here on YouTube now, as of like 2, 3 days ago. So if you want to support the channel, you can join a membership here, or you can go over to Patreon. There's a lot more stuff that you get over at Patreon. I will say that. Either way works for me, but Patreon you get book chapters and all this other stuff. Here you get some emotes. Where we're probably doing some member-only chat on streams and stuff. So either way, hopefully we see you in Discord, Patreon, and here in the next video. Cheers, everybody.